monster victim blames someone who got bullied.
Oh, well, if you only weren't so weird.
No, that is gross behavior. Like, what is wrong with you? Happy apple picking day. Just a quick recap for all of our friends who might be new here. People send in stories to my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple, where they're not sure if they acted appropriately or not. Every Tuesday, we pick 4 of them on our Am I the Bad Apple Day, and we just kind of read them. We mull it over and we decide based on our own perspectives and our own experience whether we think they're a good apple, a bad apple, or a crab apple. Because we all come from different branches of the apple tree, some of those experiences and opinions might be different. That is okay. I heavily encourage civil and friendly discussion about these apples down in the comments. But the moment you are rude or nasty or name calling or all those things, like, that's when you lose people. No one wants to listen to someone with that kind of attitude. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for wanting my nephew to put on pants? I, 36 female, have an 8-year-old daughter. My sister has an adopted son who we'll call Trevor. My sister fostered Trevor when he was 11 and adopted him when he was 14, 15 years old. And now they just celebrated his adoption anniversary. Trevor was horribly abused by his biological mother in foster home before my sister found him. He has autism and a long list of trauma that he deals with every night. Because of all this trauma, sometimes he struggles with staying dry at night. Anyways, I was over at her house with my daughter. I was really going through something with my husband and I just needed someone to vent to. Around 10 p.m., I noticed my sister was probably wanting us to leave, but I just couldn't deal with my husband yet. My nephew started yelling for my sister and her husband, and they went to go see what was wrong. I guess Trevor threw up. Me and my daughter stayed downstairs to, give them some privacy and stuff, and then my sister came downstairs and her husband started washing his sheets and kind of were going through the motions. Then my nephew came downstairs in just a long t-shirt that I think belonged to my brother-in-law. He wasn't wearing any pants. I have an 8-year-old girl sitting right there. He went to go lay on my sister and then his shirt came up a little bit and you could see his diaper pull up, whatever it is that he was wearing. I told my sister, he should probably put on some pants. My sister said,
He usually walks around in a large t-shirt at night.
and I said, yeah, but my 8-year-old daughter's here. It's not appropriate for him to be down here without pants.
My sister said, it's super late, okay? You guys should probably start heading home anyways.
I got super upset. I mean, she was just trying to push us out the door, and I told her, I don't think it's fair to kick us out instead of making Trevor just put on some pants while women are around. That's when my sister said,
This is my house, and it's my son's house, not your house. It's almost 11 p.m. anyways.
I argued with her for a good 10 minutes and Trevor started getting really overwhelmed. So she just yelled at me in front of my own daughter to just get out. I personally don't think I did anything wrong, okay? Most people would want a teenage boy wearing pants when there's a little girl around. However, my mom doesn't really see it that way. She said she doesn't see it as any different as a girl wearing a nightgown and that I overstayed my welcome. So if I was uncomfortable, I should have just left. She defended Trevor, saying that he has a lot of trauma, so of course my sister will accommodate him before me and my daughter. I don't think I'm in the wrong for wanting him to wear pants around my daughter, but maybe Reddit can make sense of this. Was I the bad apple? Yes. Like, you can't just simplify it into, am I the bad apple for wanting my nephew, my teenage nephew, to want to wear pants around my daughter? Like, that's not the whole story, okay? Is it crazy for you to want your 8-year-old daughter to not be around a teenage boy with no pants on? No, that's not crazy. What is crazy is assuming that you and your fight with your husband comes before a child throwing up, needing his mom, being in his own home, clearly not feeling good, and like, you think your fight with your husband comes before that in like someone else's home? I'm not understanding why you feel entitled to just sit there and take up space while they're dealing with a sick child. in the middle of the night. Like she said, it's almost 11 p.m. That's late. They probably want to go to bed. To feel like other people can't live their lives, they can't go to bed if they have work in the morning, they can't deal with their sick child because you don't want to go home yet? Okay, go drive around. Go to Cookout. Do you guys, I don't know if you live in the South or not. Those who aren't in the South won't understand what I mean. When I say like Cookout's open till 2 in the morning and they got like 30 something milkshake flavors. It's one of my favorite places, okay? They got lots of milk. Take your 8-year-old to go get a milkshake somewhere. Whether it's at Cookout, if you don't live near one, McDonald's, they got some good milkshakes, I think. I get if the ice cream machine is working, you know, I don't know. Or you can just sit in the driveway of your house if you don't want to go inside. But like, it's now 11 p.m. and you're also making your daughter stay up because you're in an argument with your husband. Don't 8-year-olds have bedtimes? Like, am I crazy to think that that's kind of late for an 8-year-old to be awake at 11 p.m. at her aunt's house because you don't want to go home? Like, this whole thing just feels very selfish, and to kind of water it down into a,
well, how dare they? They think I'm crazy because I don't want this kid running around with no pants.
It's not like he came to your house with no pants on. It's not like he's going out in public with no pants on. He's in his own home. He was upstairs, but he came down to his mom because he's sick and not feeling well, and he just wants the comfort of his mom who saved him from such a traumatic past. Like, that's clearly his comfort person, okay? As she should be. Like, that's awesome. For you to twist the situation into,
oh, me. Like, I have to be with this kid that won't wear pants.
I mean, I wonder what you and your husband are fighting about. Like, if this is what you've kind of twisted the situation to be in your mind between your sister and you and your nephew, like, I can only imagine what situation you've twisted up in your brain in regards to your husband. Let's take a second and understand that, like, you're a grown woman dealing with your own problems. And okay, you wanted to vent to your sister, and that's great, and you did. But your sister is also a grown woman with her own husband and her own child and her own job and her own needs and her own whatever. And all of her stuff doesn't just stop because you're having a bad day. You can have a bad day, that is fine. But other people's lives can't always just stop. And she did stop what she was doing, and she let you talk, and she let you vent, and she was there for you. But you're not letting her move on with the things she needs to move on with. Like, she still has a life going. She now has a much more dire situation going on. And I know there's gonna be people in the comments that are like, you don't know what her situation was. I do know that this woman's child was sick, and his needs and his health and his safety should always be her first priority. And she was trying to make it that way, and you had an entire temper tantrum because you didn't want to leave, you didn't want to go home at 11 p.m. when your niece's child needed her. That's rude. That's wrong. So are you the bad apple for like the general simple desire for wanting your daughter to be around men who have pants on? No, but that's not the real situation. No, you're the bad apple for creating this situation where you're trying to demonize your sister for being a mom. Like, it almost feels like you're using your daughter as a weapon. You're not respecting your sister's home and her family, and like, it's just all very entitled. So I'm going bad apple. Is there something that I'm missing? Because this entire situation just feels very what about me effect kind of thing, entitled. Let me know what you think. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for saying I'm not happy for my daughter's pregnancy? My daughter got pregnant the 2nd year into her college, and it was not a good time. My husband and I stepped up so that she could finish college, and she did. That's all we wanted for her. She just graduated and just got a job. The problem is, though, at the moment, she can't afford childcare or even rent for her own place because her job kind of sucks. We're hoping she's gonna be able to move out by the end of the year and be an adult and take care of her child as an adult. In the meantime, she's just living with us and we are her childcare. Well, today, my daughter told us she's pregnant again. When she told us, I rolled my eyes and I said,
Oh, not again.
She said, what? Are you not happy for me? And I said, no, I'm not. I'm not looking after another kid when we already are hoping that you can find your own place by the end of the year or next summer at least. I'm not interested in watching a second child as a full-time job because she's being irresponsible. She got pissed at us and we got into a really big argument and she thinks we're being jerks. I think my reaction was pretty reasonable, but I gotta know. Was I the bad apple? I feel like there's gonna be a lot of people who disagree on this because I think there's gonna be a lot of people who really miss the point, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that, I think a lot of people are gonna get stuck on the idea that like,
oh, well, you're a grandparent and you're not excited. You're gonna get another grandchild.
but that's not the point. The issue here is that these parents raised and supported their daughter and sent her off to college, and halfway through, she had a little bit of an oopsie, and they're like, you know what? We just wanna make sure that you're good and that you finish your college career and get a degree because we want you to have a good life. So come move back in. We will take care of the child. Like, we will do whatever to make sure that you are taken care of. And they did that. These parents put their lives on pause to play parent again so that their child could finish college. And even after, she's working, she can't afford childcare, she can't afford to live somewhere else. So they're still taking care of her and her child. And how does their daughter thank them? By continuing to be irresponsible and adding another heap of responsibility to her parents. She already can't afford to live on her own with one kid. She's not going to be able to do that with two, meaning that's going to be even longer. She's not able to move out. And not only that, that's double responsibility for her parents. Double mouths to feed and food to buy. That's double time of you got to make sure as 2 under 2. I don't even have kids, and I know that's crazy. That's a lot of stamina. That's a lot of days where her parents can't see their friends, can't do the things that they want to do because they have to play babysitter. That's so unfair. The fact of the matter is all the support that her parents gave her was a huge privilege, okay? Not everybody has that. Not everyone's parents are able to do that kind of thing. That is a huge privilege. And instead of, I was a little irresponsible and my parents helped me stay on track to create a life for myself, I'm instead not learning my lessons and continuing to act irresponsibly, and it's almost like shoving their help back in their faces. Like, how insulting, to put your lives on hold for years just trying to help get your child back on track, and they do the exact same thing all over again. Like, of course, if their daughter graduated and got a job and was living on her own and supporting her and her own child, I'm sure these parents would be jumping for joy at another grandchild. But that's not what's happening. They are going to have to raise another baby because their daughter isn't being responsible. And I think that it's really wrong to label them being frustrated with that as selfish. It's not selfish. They have every right to be frustrated. They have every right to be angry. And they have every right to not want to have to do that. So no, I don't personally think that their reaction makes them wrong in any way. In fact, I think that the help that they've already given so far makes them very gracious. And I don't understand the daughters. Well,
are you not happy for me?
Happy for what? You're not supporting these children. You're not paying for them. You're not caring for them. You're going off to work and you don't even make enough to put a roof over your own head. You're not caring for these children. Your parents are. What do you mean happy for you? It's really for them because they're parenting these kids. Or at least supporting the kids. You guys know what I mean. I'm gonna go good apple because I do think that's a very reasonable reaction. I think that's a very reasonable reaction to be frustrated and angry that you're giving the shirt off your back to your child to make sure that even though they were a little irresponsible before, it doesn't hold them back from the life that they want to live, and they're just making it harder on not only themselves but on you. And I think it's reasonable to be frustrated about that. As you guys know, I don't have kids. I can't even imagine what the parents are thinking and feeling at this moment in time. So if you are a parent or a grandparent, I would love to know your opinion on this. Let me know if you think I'm crazy. I don't think I'm crazy. I feel like that's a really reasonable reaction, but what do I know? I would love to know your reaction down in the comments. Apple number 3. Was I the bad apple for giving my coworker the phone number of the girl who crashed into her car? Alright, so I, 26 female, am just going about my day. I'm a preschool teacher with 17 3-year-olds, all watched by me and my one assistant, so the room gets pretty hectic. On the second day of school, around mid-morning, a teacher from another classroom who I've never met before came into my class and told me that on her break, she accidentally backed into my car. In hindsight, I probably should have asked her how she knew it was my car, but I didn't. And instead, I assumed she was correct and didn't question it. We exchanged insurance and phone numbers, and she took a picture of the damage and sent it to my phone. The car did look a bit dark to be my car. I mean, mine is almost electric blue, but I chalked it up to be the glare from the sun in photo quality, I guess. It was like a long, hectic day, and I only glanced at it. Fast forward, though, I went on my break to go look at the damage, and I didn't see any. So I texted the girl and I said, hey, don't worry about it. Thanks for letting me know what happened, but it doesn't look like I have any dents or anything on my car at all, so whatever. Later, when my assistant went on her break and returned, she said her car has a giant dent in it. Crazy enough, her car is blue. Now that I think about it, her car is also blue. I said, oh, you should go talk to the other teacher because I think it's your car that she hit. Because again, I didn't have any damage on my car. So I leave for the day and I give my assistant the other teacher's number so she can reach out and explain that it was actually her car that got hit, and that was that. That evening, I received some very angry text messages and phone calls from the teacher that hit someone's car saying,
Excuse me? Is this not your car?
I explained that my car had no damage, so it must not have been my car that she hit, and that's why I gave my assistant her number. Well, the next morning, she comes into my classroom yelling at me for giving out her phone number. I wasn't just giving it out to anyone. I was trying to help you figure out the situation since you said you hit my car and you clearly didn't. I didn't give her any insurance information or any personal info or anything like that, just your number so she could contact you about it. I don't think I did anything wrong here, but she seems convinced I'm lying about my car and insists it was my car that she hit and not the assistant's, but it doesn't make any sense. So I gotta know, was I the bad apple? Okay, so I have my ruling and then I have what I think I would do. Do I think it was wrong for you to give someone the phone number of someone who hit their car? No, but I think what I would have done instead was, first of all, not ignore the photo that was sent. Like, you have a photo of the damage of whatever car. Instead of just saying, well, my car has no damage, so like, must not have been mine, I would instead look at the photo and say, this isn't my car because my car looks XYZ, but this does look like Jill's car, and her car has a dent in the same place as the photo. So therefore, this is Jill's car, and I'm gonna go ahead and connect you two. And then I would give the other teacher a chance to approach Jill. Oh, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah. And then if she denied, like, no, I hit your car, not Jill's. Because, like, what I feel like is happening is she saw two blue cars and is like, oh, I hit this car, but it has no damage. So, like, I can say that I hit someone's car, but there's no damage on this one. Like, I can say that I hit a blue car, but, like, if I say that I hit this car that has no damage and she lets me off the hook, then I have plausible deniability if someone else asks if I hit that car. Because, like, no, I hit that car, and I might have some of her blue paint on my car, but it's not from you, it's from her. But she's not going to my insurance company. Like, does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about? Like, it doesn't make sense, but it does. You know what I mean? Because, like, who would actually believe that and buy that? But, like, you have the photo of the car she hit, so, like, she can't get out of it. Like, that makes no sense. But anyways, I would have told her first and given her a chance to go to her, because that's just what I would personally do. But then if she didn't, then yeah, I would give the teacher her phone number and be like, yeah, here's how you contact her. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I think she was wrong for giving her the contact information. Like, I know that it's a thing for people to try and get out of fender bender, things like that. I think I'm gonna go with good apple. I don't know a lot about this stuff, so like, I'm sure maybe there's someone in the comments who could convince me of crabapple for sure. Like if there's something that I'm not thinking of, or a perspective or an experience of like why that could be deemed a little bit more wrong. I don't think I will ever go bad apple for this one because it doesn't make sense. Like she hit the girl's car, she has the right to get that situated, you know what I mean? At least from my perspective. Well, y'all are more than welcome to like let me know in the comments if you disagree with me on why. Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for telling my sister it's her fault her son's being bullied? My 26 female sister, 33 female, has 2 sons. Bracken, 13 male, and Neville, 11 male. My husband, 24 male, and I went to a basket raffle at our local library this past weekend with my sister, Bracken, Neville, and Bracken's girlfriend. My sister's husband, 33 male, was also there. This raffle is held every year and has many local businesses and organizations donate baskets to help raise funds for the library. There are all sorts of baskets, from free massages to gift cards to sports jerseys and so much more. While looking at all the baskets, we saw some science-y baskets with projects and books for kids and adults. This is the kind of stuff that Neville likes, so he really wanted to look at them until he saw a few science-y baskets that were aimed at girls in STEM and girls in science. When Neville saw those baskets, he called them stupid and started making some pretty awful comments about girls, about how
Girls are too dumb for science, and that's why they needed special baskets.
he made some more comments like,
This is why the robotics club is always boys.
my husband and I just looked at each other and dismissed it, but we could see a few people around us giving us looks, and even Bracken made a comment telling Neville to shut his mouth. The raffle happened, Bracken won a bunch of baskets, and the rest of us didn't. On the car ride home, my husband and I were asking each other, where did Neville learn that kind of language? And we couldn't figure it out. Last night, I got a call from my sister and she seemed stressed, telling me about how horrible Neville's first month of middle school was. She said that he was being targeted and bullied. I asked her to explain what happened, but she couldn't stop crying. And I asked if she could give the phone to someone else, so Bracken grabbed it. Bracken was very blunt and said,
She's not telling the truth, okay? I'll let you know what happened. Kids are mocking Neville for what he said at the raffle.
Bracken admitted that he mentioned what had happened to some of his friends, who then spread it around to the 6th graders. And some of the kids in Neville's grade were calling him creepy and weird. And were doing it all to his friends too, who defended his comments. My sister quickly grabbed the phone from him, and after she calmed down, she asked me what she should do. I said, what do you mean? This is your fault for not correcting Neville's behavior. She said she didn't know why he said that stuff and that she can't just take away his friend and his phone when I mentioned both as a possible source. She just doubled down and said she needed to teach Bracken and his friends not to gossip. I told her she's being ridiculous and I just hung up. She tried calling me back and I didn't pick up, but I did get angry texts. I think I'm completely justified in my reaction, and I think this is all her fault. It's her poor parenting. She should have said something to him and nipped that behavior in the butt. Why would she think other kids wouldn't be offended by that kind of language? But I gotta know, was I the bad apple? I'm actually teetering a little bit between 2 answers, and before you guys come for me, here's why. Do I think that this OP is in the wrong for telling her sister that, like, this is her fault? She should have taught her son better and corrected his behavior? No, I don't. I 100% agree with that. What I don't agree with is that she and her husband were also there when he made those comments, and they didn't say anything. No one except for the brother, Bracken, actually said a word to him about his behavior. At least Bracken was like, you need to cut it out. I get that there's going to be some people that are like,
Well, you can't chastise other people's kids.
but I don't necessarily agree with that in this scenario. I think that there's a line between parenting someone else's kids and calling out wrong behavior of a child old enough to know better. Like if I was there and I heard a kid, much less my nephew, say something like that, I probably would have started with, I'm sorry, do you think your mom isn't smart enough to do that kind of stuff? Why don't you say that stuff to your mom? Why don't you say that stuff to me? Do you think we are not smart enough to do these middle school science things? Because we're girls? Is that what you think? Why do you think that? Like, I would have a conversation about that right then and there and like try to nip that in the butt because that's so wrong. And I think it's really crazy that this mom is surprised that Neville, first of all, is saying these things and it's upsetting people, and that when he's called out for these comments, instead of, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, he's doubling down, and she thinks it's weird that kids are calling him weird. That's a weird mindset, to think that girls can't do science because they're girls. Calling him weird for saying that is not bullying him. Calling him creepy for being misogynistic like that, I don't consider that bullying him. He is bullying girls by making comments like they're too stupid to do science. By labeling an entire gender as unintelligent and less capable than you, that's bullying behavior. So like, I need this mom to really understand that people reacting to his bullying statements is not them bullying him. Like, they're not going and making fun of him because he likes a TV show. They're not going and calling him stupid for being a boy. They're not going and calling him weird and creepy just for existing. They're saying, you're weird for having a hateful mindset. You're being creepy to girls because of your comments that you are making. That's not bullying. When you call someone out for being weird, for being hateful towards women, you're holding someone accountable for hateful views. I don't care if he's a kid, I don't care if he's a grown man. Those kinds of comments, if you're gonna make them, you're gonna be held accountable for them. And crying that you're being bullied because someone's holding you accountable for them is not you being bullied, it's you being held accountable for bullying other people. Now, I get that this kid didn't point these remarks at any particular people in general, but I don't really think that matters. If you're being anti-Semitic, if you're being racist, like, it doesn't matter if you're pointing your comments at specific people in general. You're still being hateful. You're still being racist. You're still being anti-Semitic. You're still being misogynistic. Like, it doesn't really matter. And I need more parents to understand that when your children make these comments, and I understand that you love them, they're your kids and you want them to be happy, and like, it hurts you that kids are being mean to them. But I need you to understand that if you don't nip these behaviors in the butt, your kid is going to answer for hateful ideology. Spreading hate is gross. Like, it's just not fun, you know? Like, what's the point? It's just mean. Why would you want to do that? I think that a lot of people kind of have it in their minds when young people say hateful things like,
oh, they just don't know better. They'll just grow out of it.
But if we don't take the time to not only teach them, hey, this is wrong, but why it's wrong, where is it going to get fixed? Where are they going to grow out of it? They're not being told this is wrong. They're not being told that that's hateful. So I think more adults in general, parents in general, really need to understand, like, that is on you, that when you hear your kid saying these things, you have to address it immediately. And no, it's not the rest of the world's fault that if they don't grow out of it and they keep this hateful mindset, that other people not liking them for it isn't your kid being bullied. Your kid is the bully. People don't like bullies. That's not surprising. If your kid's gonna be a bully, people aren't gonna like them. People enjoy others who make them feel loved and appreciated and supported. So if your child is not doing that, if your child is actively making people feel worse about themselves, why are you surprised that people don't want to be around them? And hold on, your kid is going around calling girls dumb and you say nothing, but like, you're all bent out of shape because people are calling him weird? That just feels really hypocritical to me, you know? Like, I understand you as a parent want to protect your child and that it hurts you when people are calling them names, but if you're not willing to teach them to be loving and kind, then I'm just not understanding why you're surprised when other people don't appreciate their hateful behaviors. I'm going between good and crab because I also feel like it's a little hypocritical of OP to be like,
well, this is your fault. You didn't nip it in the butt.
But she was also there and she's also a family member and she also didn't say anything. And I know that some people are gonna tell me that it's not this aunt's job because she's not the parent. Like, I get that. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. So I guess maybe I will go good apple and just know that I would not have been the aunt just kind of idly watching as time passes by. Like, I definitely would be the aunt that nips it in the butt. But maybe she doesn't have that kind of relationship with her family. Maybe she feels like she can't correct her nephew in front of her sister. So I will go with that kind of benefit of the doubt and go with good apple, especially because she's not justifying or defending like,
oh, kids are calling him weird? How dare they? Like,
no, she understands that if you're being hateful, people are not going to respond well to that. So I will go good apple and allow you guys in the comments to possibly sway me to crab apple. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. I'll go good apple and give you guys a chance in the comments to sway me if you feel like I'm going too lenient. Sometimes there's something I don't think of, or something like I feel like I'm being too harsh, but I'm not, or sometimes I feel like I'm being too lenient and I'm not. Like, you know, I'm a human being. I second guess myself sometimes. You know, none of us are perfect. Like, none of us are perfect human beings. We're all just living, learning, and learning from each other. So, that being said, I think we got the same, at least I got the same votes as last week. I'm pretty positive. 1 bad apple and 3 good apples. At least that's what I got. I would love to know if you guys got the same as me, anything different than me. Definitely let me know in the comments. For your well wishes today, I hope you guys get some brownies, because I think Avery made brownies downstairs and I'm very excited to go check. I think I smell them. My mouth is watering. So as I'm gonna enjoy a sheet of brownies, I hope you guys get your hands on some chocolatey brownies this week. And I will leave you all with this. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys next week. Bye, my lovelies. Mwah.